Hey everybody, it's Nick. I am back. It's been a while since the last video. We are getting ready for an awesome camp trip next weekend. We're a member of a Tulsa, Oklahoma RVing group, and they're having a small get-together, like social distancing camp-out get-together next weekend. And in preparation for that, David's giving me a honey-do list. A honey-do list that won't stop, and I don't think I've got time to get it all done. So I'm debating, okay, what on the list will I get in the least amount of trouble for not completing? But I think the three things I'm going to work on first are I need to get propane in both of the tanks for the RV. The back of our truck is like a junk drawer on four wheels. It's ridiculous. And then I also, something I've needed to do for a while are our slideouts here. They are the ones that run on the cables. Is that the Schwintek or whatever? I don't know, but you know, the ones you'll see the cables on the outside. So I've got to do an adjustment on our two super slides here in the back of the trailer. So that ought to be fun. I've never done that. I've researched it and everything. It doesn't really look... They look a little crazy, but to me, I don't think it seems like it's going to be all that hard or anything. So stay tuned and we'll see what I get done and if I screw anything up. I think what I'm going to get done first is the propane tanks, and as I walk over to the camping truck, I'm wondering if I have room in the bed of the truck to even put the tanks in there before having to accomplish cleaning the bed of the truck out. So that sucks, because I really don't want to clean the back of the truck out. I'll show you the hard truth. Let's see how bad it is. Okay. First of all, the tonneau cover is new because we went with the tonneau cover because all the leaves and everything falling in there, and we're about leaving all our camping gear in the back, so it makes a mess, everything gets wet. So we did a tonneau cover. You see all that? Okay, now I'm going to roll the tonneau cover back and we're going to see just how bad it is. Yep. And yes, there's even a pumpkin. So this is like when we go to the store, we put groceries and stuff in this little tub, but it's kind of turned into a camping thing. We've got all our big rugs. We got some window deflectors for the Moore's truck. Another pumpkin. What do I have here? The tote for lanterns. Sewer box. I think this is all levelers, stabilizers. That's either party lights or more camping lanterns. But then if you look down close, you can see there's just junk and leaves and just crap like everywhere. So I think I'm gonna take like the little tote that we put groceries and things in out, and I think I'm gonna take the beanbag cornhole toss game. I think I'm gonna take that out. Then I can throw the tanks in, and then my running around is done. I can just get the tanks filled, get back home, and start accomplishing more things on my honey-do list. So yeah, let's start with those tanks. The old Volkswagen, we aren't camping in it right now, so it makes a great place to hide crap. And then David thinks I actually put things away. So see, I just slide that right there in the old Volkswagen. David's gonna think I went and put it in the shed. That's a score for me. And slide my junk box on in there. He's gonna think, oh my gosh, he must have put all that stuff away where it's supposed to go. Like, wow, Nick is really getting this honey-do list done. Another score for me. And you see, that just reveals more layers. So, but I think I've got the room to put the propane tanks in here. Let me grab those. Oh yeah. We've got a couple 30 pounders here. And our RV cover, I always store the little, these are like little straps with weights to help you get the big straps under the RV. I always just kind of hide them there because if I put them in the RV, then, oh my god, this one was open. That's not good. If I leave the straps in the RV, then how the hell am I going to get them out when it's time to put the cover on? So I think one of these is totally empty and one of them is still has like a little gas in it. Okay, so my minimal effort got both tanks in, and I just now decided chocks will totally help keep the tanks from moving. See, tire chalk on each side. So that's awesome. Okay, we'll close the tonneau cover up, we'll hop in the truck and go pick up some propane. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold the phone while I'm driving. I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. So anyways, you can see me. I've got the phone down in the gauges. But so I'm leaving our neighborhood. Our little neighborhood is way out in the country. There's nothing out here but the neighborhood. So running to the store or anything tends to be a pretty decent little drive. But what's really sweet for when we need propane is there is a little local propane refill place just right outside of the neighborhood. Sorry, the steering wheel's blocking. So, it's like maybe 5 minutes. Oh. Okay. I'm at the end of the neighborhood. I'm stopped. It's clear. I'm gonna hit stop on the recording. And just from here, I can see the propane shop is like right there. Here, let's just go ahead and show you while I'm not moving. Can you see it? Oh, right there. And here's our neighborhood entrance. So super convenient when you live way out in the country to have something that close. See, I told you, country neighborhood area. So let's go get these tanks filled. Okay, I'm just in their parking lot, so I don't feel so bad about this now. But this family, they've done this service for a long time, and I love coming out here. Look, they have like little goats and chickens and ducks and everything. Isn't that cool? Like their whole family, they just have like all kinds of fun little hobbies and everything. Look at that big fuzzy goat laying there. Oh my god, there's a turkey. You see the big turkey? Oh my god, there's a bunch of turkeys. Okay, so anyways, here I am. Here's their little office for the propane. I think I'll pull up like this. They fill the RV tanks right here in this little shed thing. I'm not gonna fill them inside or anything. I'll get back to you guys as soon as I get the tanks full. All right, got my propane filled. Here, so convenient. They're always so nice and helpful. I pay $20 for a 30-pound tank to be filled. To me, that's a pretty good deal. If you take like a barbecue tank to the exchange, like this is crazy cheaper than that. And always the best, friendliest service. They know me by my first name. Love coming down here to this little propane shop. So let me get back home, put the propane tanks back into the trailer, and then I think I'm gonna start getting on adjusting those slides. So yeah, here we go. Honeydew list, first item, check. Okay, propane tanks are installed back into the trailer. So now I have to, in order to access the adjustments for the cables, I have to remove this entire trim, a whole big thing. On these cable slides, the motor is above the slide and it's behind this access panel. So if all I were doing was messing with the motor and needed to inspect it, I could remove just this panel. But the cables run the entire length and their adjustments are going to be in different places. So I have to remove the entire thing, and it's really simple. There are just little Phillips screws every once in a while. So I just take those screws out, and I should be able to take that whole panel off. I think I'm going to take the center panel off first, just so I'm not breaking such a long piece of paneling or something, you know. I've never taken them off before, so here it goes. I'll see if I can't figure out somewhere to set up the camera so you can see me do all this. Okay, so that was really easy, and I was surprised that the screws that go through that facial trim, they don't really go in to the body of the slide out very much. And looks like I've got a little trim up here in the corner. If you can see that, it's kind of loose there above the motor. I'll probably tack that back in. Okay, so let me flip the camera and I'll show you like what's going on here. It's getting a little warm in here, so I'd turn on a fan. I apologize for the sound. Okay, so what has happened is so this is your electric motor, and this is like the gearbox that runs these slides. Well, there was an issue through certain years where they had, at the manufacturer of the gear, not Keystone, but the manufacturer of the gearbox, they overfilled with grease. So with heat, the grease would expand, and there is a weep hole on top. So the grease would expand and drip out, and it would land on the rubber roof of the slide out and start to tear up that rubber roof. So instead of, well, after it has expanded and leaked out so much, it ends up leaking out to be of a level that it's not going to do that anymore. But instead of replacing these, all they do is put this drip tray on. So it just catches the whatever grease. It looks like there's maybe been a couple more drops. So when they did that, they had to remove the motor and everything to put that in, because as you can see, it's mounted back up behind this whole mechanism. Well, when they did that, they did not adjust our cables back. So let me show you something. See how this chain's drooping? Look how bad that is. It should not be like that. And then here's another thing that it shouldn't be like. These cables should not cross and be twisted. These little boxes here are actually supposed to be completely horizontal. This one has totally twisted. So you can see here they're marked of what cable is what. This one says out. You can see that. It says out, the bottom cable, the top cable for this side of the slide. This one says in, the bottom cable and the top cable for this side of the slide for when the slide is coming in. And you see it's not totally horizontal, and it's kind of loose also. So the way you tighten an individual cable is here. See, this bolt goes through this bracket, and you see there's more thread on this one than that one. So this one's tighter than this one is. So I have to adjust to get the slack out of these cables, and then right here you see a nut there, and then another nut here. That is where you adjust the horizontal pitch of this little box. And when they're not totally horizontal, the boxes, they slide and they go past each other, and they kind of bump into each other. And that is why you see the sticker decal on this one is torn up, because this box has been coming along and bumping into it. So here's a real bad one. This is in for this side of the slide. So let me dig out my tools and see what's up. I'm not going to video every little step-by-step on it. Oh, and while we're in here, let me show you. They come with the little tool that you can put on a screwdriver or drill. If something happens with your motor, you can manually extend and close your slides. And then up here, there's half-ass instructions on adjusting your slide cables. So I'm gonna put the camera down and kind of start diving into this. Okay, so my slide is out, so I'm starting with the sections that are labeled out. This is when the room is pushed out. So I now have this box fully horizontal. The way I did that was I loosened this nut, which is a lock nut, and then I loosened this nut, rotated around, held it in place, and tightened this lock nut back down. So now I've got that box totally vertical, and so you see how it's kind of tilted. So now I need to make an adjustment. I need to decide if I want to adjust this cable or this cable. I can either tighten this one more, which it looks like it's pretty tight. There's a lot of thread out. I'm either going to loosen this one. There's so much thread out of it, or I'm going to tighten this one that doesn't have much thread at all. They're both pretty tight. That one feels really tight. This one feels fairly tight. So I think what I'm going to do is tighten this one, which will pull the cable into this box, and will pull the bottom of that box into place so it's perfectly horizontal. Okay, so I've got it adjusted. The sticker's not on there straight, so it kind of makes it look still a little bit off. But so now my little box is fully vertical in all directions. The little foam pads there, I don't really know what the purpose of them is, but they say those need to stay in place. So I took them off just to kind of get to the nuts a little easier. So just a little recap on this. If your box is tilted in or out, you will loosen this lock nut, and then you actually use this nut to move the pitch. Once I moved the pitch, then I held it in place and went and tightened the lock nut, and that held it in place in this direction. Now, as far as it being left and right, it took a little adjusting back and forth, but I've got it straight up and down now. And I ran the room in and out just a little bit just to make sure. And it seems like on the in and out in the beginning, they'll kind of move a little bit. But it's a hell of a lot better than this. So I'm just gonna work on getting them the best I can. I mean, like, look at this sloppy mess. I'm working on getting them the best I can, and see how it goes. And then we'll probably, at some point in time, we'll take the RV in and have them like a professional adjust them. Probably over the winter when they're not as busy. Okay, I'm gonna get on to the next. This one's an out. So I'm gonna get onto this one, which is an out. And because the cables are so twisted right there, that lock nut, you can see I can move it with my finger. It was already loose. So I will go here and use my wrench to rotate this thing all the way completely around to get that lined up. And then I'll probably do a little bit of an adjustment on the top right here to bring that dude more straight. So let me work on that one. Alright, that one was really easy. As you see, those two cables are no longer twisted. Again, all I had to do, well, that's the lock nut, it was already loose. So I just, really I was able just to grab the box and just turn it. Got it where I wanted it to be, and then tightened the lock nut down. And then for my pitch back and forth, I just loosened the top one a tiny bit and tightened the bottom one just a little bit, and good to go. So now my cables and boxes for taking the slide out are looking great. Super happy about that. So now what I need to do is bring the slide in a bit to pull the slack in and get these stupid things adjusted. So let me get going on that. Okay, I'm taking a break for just a minute to give you guys a little update on dealing with adjusting these cables. So right at first, to get rid of all the sloppy slack and the little boxes being spun like I was showing you, I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. This is pretty chill. And well, it's not near as straightforward as it seems. And I found a problem, something that was installed completely wrong. A pulley. There's two pulleys next to each other. I'm going to show you. They run next to each other and two cables go through them, one on each. And then there's pulleys down below in the wall. Well, those cables were flipped on the one in the wall. So I didn't realize until I started opening this and looking, we've had a cable that has come out of its groove in a pulley and has been running in between two pulleys all this time. And it's because at the bottom in the wall, the cables are flipped. They're in the wrong pulley on one end of the slide out. When you go to the other end of the slide out, they're in there the right way. So since it is flipped on the bottom, it's pulling out on that cable and making it come up out of its groove. So let me try to show you that. Here's what I've got going on. I've actually had to put a car jack in here. Okay, so the in cables, the out cables, okay? So try to follow me here. Here are two cables. They come over here. They go into this pulley system. There are actually two pulleys. You can see one there and one there. This cable is in the outer pulley. This other cable is on the inner pulley. This inner cable, it keeps jumping its track and getting jammed up in there. So when I come around over here, do you see right back in there, there's a gap. And see how this cable's set in, this cable's bumped out on top. It's supposed to be back inside. Okay, so you follow it down. I've pulled this back. Okay. See how the cables are more side by side right there? That one should be further towards the wall. That cable comes down to this pulley, which is further away. Like the end of this pulley is further away from the wall than the inner pulley that cable should be on way up here. So as it's going, this is creating an outward pull on that cable, which is causing it to pull out and jump out of its groove. So on the other side of the slide out, this cable that runs this pulley, they've got it not on the inside pulley up here, but on the outside, which makes sense because the pressure would line it up. It would be on the outside cable to this outer edge of this pulley. Because where this cable goes, it runs more deeply in towards the wall. So what I'm going to do is take this off. I've got the car jack in here to relieve some pressure. I'm going to take all this off and I'm going to trade these pulleys. Trade the positions of the cables in their pulleys. So it should not have such a goofy lineup of the pressure. So I'm really aggravated. Super aggravated, and honestly, like, before I even realized what was going on with that, I just about stopped and called the mobile repair people to come out and deal with this. I will never, ever, ever, ever deal with this again, and I will definitely call somebody to come out. I've actually talked to a local RV guy before, and he said if I took the board off of the front and all he had to do was adjust, I think he said like $75 to come and adjust everything. And I believe that was for all three slides. So, which seems cheap. So cheap for the frustration. I'm like, surely that's for each slide. Which I would happily pay. I'd happily pay the guy $500 to come out here and deal with all of this. Okay, so I'm going to get back to this. I'll flip those and run the slide in and out. And it better be right. I was telling David just came out here, and I was like, we're about to go trade this thing in. I'm not ever buying another RV that has the cable system. We've been wanting to upgrade anyways, but we're going to wait probably like 3 years. And I'm looking at David right now, like he's David. So I'm like having a moment, and I was ready to just about throw a match on this thing. Okay, so let me correct the manufacturer's error on their installation. Okay, be right back. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys, trying not to block the light. So if you gotta deal with this, you've got a bolt here and a little screw here. Removes this plate. There's a pin that comes, a little rod that comes out and a pin that holds it. It looks just like that. That's what the screw looks like over here. That's what the bolt looks like over here. So you take the pin off. You can wiggle this bracket off. And then you slide these two pulleys. Okay. There's one pulley. There's another pulley. So now I have to put them back on in the direction they should be for them to work with all the different pressures. Let me do that. Okay, y'all, I'm trying to show this to you guys because somebody else is probably gonna have to deal with this, and I'm trying my best holding a phone and everything. Okay, so I've got this other cable put in to a pulley. If you can see, it goes back behind to a pulley right down in there. Look at my dirty hands. I'm getting so dirty doing this. Okay, so that's better. And so now I got to put this cable on a pulley, which will line it up with this one, so it shouldn't be trying to pop it out so hard. So let me do that. Okay, that was easy as pie. So you see now, see how that outer pulley on the top is lined up vertically with the pulley below. The distance to the other pulley underneath for the cable that is now on the back pulley up top is further, so it'll allow for like you know, more flex and everything. So there won't be so much pressure to try to get that cable to pop out. And this is how the other end of the slide out is set up. So thanks for the error, Keystone. Thank you for probably not paying your employees enough to care and probably rushing them to build as many of these as you can in one day instead of paying attention. Okay, so slide the bracket back on. You got pushed in pretty good, and you've got this like really weird looking pin that goes in. I wonder if I can do this with just one hand. Oh, I can. Look at that. Okay, so I put the pin on first just because I want it to all hold together, so when I put my screws and bolt in, there's not so much pressure on those and risking like cross threading or anything like that. Okay, all assembled back in. I've got my bolt in, my little screw, my retainer pin, and I've removed the Volkswagen car jack. So the pressure's been put back on, so that one's tight now. Okay. I don't like that, but that's just the way it's going to be. So now I gotta test it all out, and I'll let you know how it went. Ta-da! It worked. Cable's not trying to jump out or anything all goofy or crazy. I run it all the way in, and then I run it all the way out. I'm gonna do that a couple more times just to like make sure everything's cool. And if it is, I'll probably fall back in love with this travel trailer. If it's not cool, someone's gonna get paid because we're just gonna have to have somebody come out here. So anyways, as long as this is done, I can put my boards back up, everything's cool. Then that is two things checked off the honey-do list. Propane, check. Adjusting the slide out, check. So I'm gonna check this out again and make sure it's right. So give me just a second. Okay, so I ran it in and out like 3 times. Everything seems to be fine. I'm starving, David's starving, so we're gonna go get something to eat. Then when I come back, I'll finish up by putting the trim back up on the top of the slide out. A couple things that I learned on these systems. One main thing is you're always going to have some of the cables have slack. Because if they're all tight all at the same time, when part of the system is bringing the slide out, it's going to be fighting against the system that brings the slide in, and vice versa. So they'd be like trying to pull each other apart if all cables were constantly totally tight. So you're always going to have a little bit of slack. Now, our slack was excessive. That was ridiculous, and it's cleaned up and nice now. Like they're not all sloppy crazy. The slide out is going in evenly on all 4 corners. Another thing I learned is I don't ever want to buy another RV with the cable system. Another thing that not really that I learned, but that just reinstilled in myself, is I am so smart and I can figure out anything if I put my mind to it. So another RV repair done for free on my own, and that's a good feeling. But if I ever have to deal with these slide cables again, I'm gonna have somebody come do it. So anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm not gonna get the third honey-do list cleaning out the bed of the truck done. I'm done for the day. So till next time, which will be next weekend at our camp out, happy RVing. You guys stay safe, mask up, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.